Looks like we're here.
All right. We've got our first Zoom guest.
It's our first Zoom guest.
It is the world famous rock photographer,
Ty Rise, it's Ty Rock. What do you go by now?
I just go by the same thing, like Ty Rock City, Ty Jamar,
okay.
whatever I put out, it's what I am.
Right, I hear you. Cool.
He is the photographer of the world famous Chesty Malone, the Slice 'em Up, We're Still Jet back cover.
Yes, yes.
If you didn't know.
Yes,
No.
yes, indeed. And also world famous used to do the door at Chesty shows at Lucky 13.
That's true.
Oh yeah, good
Yes.
times.
Indeed.
Good times.
Yes. So here we are. We were just talking about the Bronx. You ever hang out in the Bronx too much?
Back when I had my old band that we never mentioned the name of, Ty, so remember that. Our original drummer lived in the Bronx. Shut up. And we went to go rehearse at his house once, and it was me and the other girl guitar player, and he was like, what the fuck, what are you doing? Because we were like walking around in our slutty punk rock outfits, and he was like, you're gonna get fucking murdered, get in my house right now. And then his mom yelled at us for the way we were dressed. And he was like, we're never practicing at my house again.
Like, okay, cool.
Yeah. That's my experience at the Bronx.
I was telling Ty before we went on air that we went to the Big Four.
Oh yeah, that was my second time in the Bronx.
I never really hung out too much in the Bronx, and actually we still hope to rectify this situation one day if the world ever reopens. But the 1 out of 5 boroughs that Chesty Malone has not played as of yet is the Bronx.
It's also the only borough I've never lived in.
We're looking at you, Chucky Brown, to rectify the situation. And Ty, I don't know. Maybe you know somebody up there.
He's at shows, by the way.
Yeah, I mean,
really? In the Bronx?
Yeah, I mean, there's shows in the Bronx, but it's more particularly like venues like The Point and FLC. And back in like 2007, 2008, there was a local venue called The Nest that I just pulled a couple flyers from off their MySpace page.
I know The Nest. Yeah, never been there, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of like throwback shows that I wish that venue was still in existence, but it's been usually FLC, which is like a church in the Throgs Next section in the Bronx, and The Point, which is the Hunts Point section. But other than that, not too many venues in the Bronx, pretty much.
Yeah. So one day.
One day.
When there's shows ever again in the universe.
You know what? I never lived in the Bronx either, but I also never lived in Manhattan. But I lived in the other 3 boroughs.
Oh, you don't want to live in Manhattan, though.
No, I never wanted to, actually. So I'm not upset about it. But
yeah.
Oddly enough, most of all people that live in New York, I never lived in Manhattan.
Unless the A7 had like places to sleep back in those days.
I had an uncle who lived at 112th and Broadway, Columbia territory, kind of. And when I was a kid, and so that's where we would stay, and I would go downtown to shows and stuff like that. Yeah, at CB's and buy records and all that good stuff. But so
straight out of high school, I temporarily lived in a kind of a sprucey neighborhood of Manhattan over on Lexington and 86. And
oh, Jesus Christ.
It was a really awkward situation, so it didn't last very long.
Oh, God, Lexington. Good time.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Another story for another day, if anybody's interested.
Yeah. Another vlog.
Yeah.
Video.
Vlog.
Vlog. Vlog.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
No, it's not a vlog. It's a vlog, long.
Yeah, vlog. It's always vlog, not vlog.
Right. Thank you.
Wrong.
I previously mentioned that before, yeah.
Yeah, man. So what are you doing now that you haven't been doing the door at Chesty Malone shows?
I haven't been doing that. I've been working 5 Boroughs Brewing in Brooklyn, canning and packaging pallets and pallets of like either 16-ounce 4-packs or 12-ounce 6-packs. Nice. We just canned in like a couple of like fall beers, like the pumpkin ale, the 6-ounce 12-packs, and
my favorite.
we did the fest beer 16-ounce 4-packs, which I have one in my fridge. I could have got one for this interview.
Shut up, we're always drinking.
Yeah, we could say cheers.
Yeah, I have an empty can that I drank at Bronx Beer Hall a while ago.
Okay,
so.
all right, cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Whoa. You got your sounded like you had your
bunch of prod.
Wait, what's it called? The vocal effect?
Like
robot. The robot.
Wow.
It sounded like you had your yeah. Your auto tune. You had your
Yeah.
auto tune on there for a second.
Oh God, shoot me, man. Yeah, like I was saying, other than that, just been like planning like a whole bunch of like collaboration projects with a couple people in the industry or like in the music industry for next year when everything just gets back to normal and hopefully shows can happen again. Or
Yeah.
We're hoping for that.
yeah, just maybe do like a live stream event in the near future or something. But
That's
just
cool. So you're talking about promoting is what you're saying, right?
yeah, promoting,
Awesome.
hosting my own like live stream shows because I hosted a beer release festival last year in the Bronx. So since live shows are probably not going to happen anytime soon, just probably do like a little like acoustic showcase and just live stream it on Twitch or something.
Cool.
Just keep everybody safe and away from the Rona.
You got to keep away from the Rona.
Fucking delicious Rona.
Anything funny ever happened that we didn't know about?
When Jackie kept abusing me one night. Because when I had the suspenders on.
If you need some
wait,
backstory.
what do you got to clarify by abusing?
Yeah, I think it was the Kings County Casket Company show.
That would have been St. Patty's probably, right? Of like 2017.
I feel the most I abused you, but I actually thought it was really hilarious.
That's when I dressed up. That's when I really like actual dressed up for it.
Oh, see, I wasn't even thinking of that one. I was thinking about Halloween where Ty only wears head to toe black and he wore white.
Oh yes, I wore white the one time.
I was like, what the fuck?
Okay, that's another funny one.
That was the Dead Boys show.
Yeah,
the Dead Boys show. Yeah,
Cheetah
Croman.
Very hilarious Halloween costume.
Yeah, I think Cheetah Croman, then another original member.
Johnny Blitz. Johnny Blitz on the drums.
Yeah, and then a couple of supporting
newbies.
characters.
Yeah.
not the original lineup.
Nah, which is weird because everyone's alive except for Stiv, obviously.
Yeah.
But I guess they don't all really like each other that much.
Yeah.
And actually, since then, Stiv and Johnny Blitz have even fallen out.
It's true. They're fucking.
What are you gonna do?
Band members fighting? I've never heard of that.
I've never heard of band members not
What are
getting
the
along.
odds?
Never happens.
Well, it's happened here in the local scene too. I mean, it's not the punk scene, but it's like more on the hardcore, metalcore, whatever you want to call it, side of the scene, where a lot of the bands who put out like really good music back in those days are like either not speaking to each other, has gotten into fistfights whilst in the band while recording their classic music, and they just don't speak to each other now that we're all like in our 30s and just living our like normal, regular job lives and shit like that. So
band members always end up hating each other.
Yeah. I mean, nothing like lawsuit related, not like one band has like their name and then the other band has like an alternated band of the same name, but just like
I really fucking hate that. Like, I get it. You want to make money, and I'm not hating on anyone for making money, obviously. But like fake versions of bands drive me nuts. You know?
Here's looking at y'all Cro-Mags guys.
And that's why we like
already.
So much.
Stop fighting. Y'all 50-year-old men fighting. Get the fuck over it.
You know, you'd think that people would be able to do that, but
whatever. It is what it is.
It just doesn't happen.
It doesn't.
Oh,
That's funny.
Somehow Danzig and Jerry only were able to pull that off for that.
Well, see, then you just mentioned Danzig, who obviously is the only member of Danzig, the band, to have been in it the entire time. So that's how Danzig, the band, has kept going all these years.
Yeah.
Because band members come and go. But there's obviously the original version of the Danzig band is obviously still and will always be the best version of that band.
Right.
No offense to anybody who's currently in it, because they're pretty cool, but
only offense to late 90s, early 2000s Danzig band members. You suck.
Well, I don't want to personally insult anybody, but I saw Danzig at the World in either 2000 or 2001. And actually, oddly enough, Jerry Only was there. I saw him there. I don't really know how that worked back in 2000, 2001. But Jerry Only was there in the crowd. He wasn't backstage. He was trying to meet Danzig and was not allowed access to backstage. I don't know. But that was pretty terrible. They had these like leather 9-inch nails, shiny nuns stripping on stage. And like everything was down tuned to like, I don't know, Z minus. And
how are you in the crowd at your own former bandmate show? I don't understand.
Oh my God, that is just brutal, man.
It was weird.
I can't even imagine.
I don't know what he was doing. I don't know what he was doing. I didn't talk to him. But
probably trying to stab him like Harley did to try to do.
Hey, everybody.
Yeah, that's a jeez. Fucking, that was a rough one. That was a
That
raw
was
deal.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad
shout
Harley's
out-
doing okay now. Seems like he's doing pretty fucking good.
Yeah,
actually.
Harley's got it going fucking right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Even though he's like a
During his
shitty
album.
lyricist.
His vocals are great, and his bass
vocals
playing
are amazing,
is amazing, and his drumming is actually good.
Vocals
too.
are amazing, but he doesn't even sing into the fucking mic.
Well,
Fair
yeah.
argument, yeah. But he
Yeah,
has.
shout out to
think
John
he got
Joseph, by
better.
the way.
Oh, okay. Are you down with John?
Yeah, I did his little walking tour thing in Lower East Side one day.
How was that? I always wondered how that actually was.
Yeah, it was actually very informative, actually. Just like all the stories that he remembered at his old age now. So just taking
You're
us to
fucking
like,
brutal.
yeah, just taking us to like the
Did
old
you ask him about his hair
CBGBs.
plugs for men
Yeah.
commercial?
Oh no,
He actually is in a hair plugs commercial, but I mean,
It doesn't mean he has hair plugs.
well, okay, wait. So you didn't know where CBGB's was? You must have been to CBGB's.
I know where CBGB's was, but
But why
I
do you
just
need
never,
John Joseph to take you there?
Oh no, he
You
was
know
just
where
taking everybody
A7
else.
was? It's at the corner of F7th and A.
Yeah, I've been there many times when it was the John Barbados store now.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
won't
with
even
this,
look
like-
at it. I won't even
with
look
this-
at the John Barbados store.
Yeah, $900 pairs of jeans, and then the little small little piece of like CBGB memoria in the memorabilia in the middle of the floor.
Yeah,
It's
I always
like-
felt like that's like an insult. They should
Me
just,
too.
that's not preserving it. Just take it down or
Yeah,
bring
just-
it back. Although, check it out. I don't know if either one of you saw this. They're saying that the Barbados might be closing.
Oh, really?
I hope so.
Because during fucking the Rona, people can't afford $700
I
student.
think it's more like
t-shirt.
$900
Yeah, exactly.
pairs of jeans and $1,000. Hey, I'm
Like,
gonna go
even
drop $1,000 on a pair of jeans. I'll be right back.
Yeah, like even before the Rona, they weren't able to afford the pair of jeans. So
right.
Right.
So
and then
I don't
he
know.
basically took us to like Joey Ramone Way and by St. Mark's, and then he took us by where the Grey Gildersleeves was. And
I saw Minor Threat at Great Gildersleeves, by the way.
Yep.
I did actually see them there.
Long before John Joseph stole our idea, we actually made a punk rock history blog online
Oh yeah.
in the early days of us being on the internet.
It's still up on my website. It's our punk landmarks tour of New York City. It's not just the Lower East Side.
right next door.
We got it. It's a good one. It's a good
funny.
book. You know what? I actually have not read Harley's book.
Me either.
But we
preliminary editing on that book.
I know Harley personally, and so he was supposed to give me a copy of his book. So in principle, I will not read it until until Harley ever gives me a copy of his book.
Harley.
But
Yeah.
the last time we saw him was at Misfits in PNC in New Jersey in 2018, and it was all good. Spoke to him for a minute. We were up front, and he was behind the barrier with his one kid,
Petting my
and he was talking to me in my ear while holding the back of my head
me.
and
It's
petting the
very
top
strange.
of her head.
I've never been pet before.
So,
Kind of awkward.
but it was a little awkward, but
A little awkward.
it is still. I like Harley, so that was cool actually to see him and talk to him because probably haven't seen Harley since like 2009.
Yeah, that's about right.
Was that the year of the incident? Maybe 2010. I don't really know, but
It was.
Yeah,
it
it's
was
about
a year to get
about.
yeah.
Mm.
But yeah, I used to do graphics and website stuff for Harley.
Who's that? I'm trying to see the band here.
Why am
You know
I?
what?
That's a pretty sad comment on your life, Ty. That you're sitting there going, "Why am I seeing boobs? Why?" You should be going, "Oh, boobs!
Yay,
Obvious.
boobs.
Yeah, boobs."
Yeah.
I was really
That's
happy that we weren't standing there like talking shit, and I was actually being like,
Well, we kind of
"James
were.
Lane
We
is a
didn't get.
handsome
Yeah,
man."
we didn't get busted too bad with some of the
Yeah.
shit we were saying, but
Yeah.
yeah, didn't know.
I wasn't like, "Oh, these fucking assholes."
Yeah.
I would never do that.
We were talking about our buddy James Lane, who was doing the relay back in Brooklyn. Luckily, we were saying all good things. Not that we would ever say anything bad about James Lane, but
Yeah.
we were talking about he ran for office in some capacity at Brooklyn City Council or something, and Borough Council, whatever the fuck. And so we were talking about that, how we actually did vote for him.
Mhm.
So we weren't saying anything bad.
It's true.
So again, not that we would ever have anything bad to say about James Lane, but if we were talking about anybody else, you never know.
Yeah.
It's up in
You
the
never
air.
know.
Yeah.
It might slip up, and then somebody might send it over to the actual person itself.
Things might get a little too real. When keeping it real goes bad.
It happens.
Yeah, it does happen.
I don't
Shit.
know.
Speaking of happening, what the fuck? People are still mentioning '90s alternative is '90s punk. What the fuck is up with that shit?
So wait, okay, yeah, that's a good. I'm glad
What?
you brought that up. So
Explain.
we're one of the people. Oddly enough, you weren't the only one, but you're one of the people that asked that we discuss our opinion on '90s punk.
Yeah.
you
how
look
did
like
you?
a army,
Hold on one
apparently.
second.
Yeah,
How did you feel about our picks? Did you consider what we said was '90s punk to even be '90s punk?
I mean, that's the ones that you guys picked was like that's stuff that I never even heard because it wasn't supposed to be on the radio. It's like pertains to like how punk is supposed to not
Hang on,
fucking
you're getting
out
fucking
like
fucked up.
Hold on.
Green Day.
So wait, you got robotic there for a second again.
Yeah.
Turn off your auto tune, Ty.
Tell us again what you thought was supposed to be '90s punk, because that's when you got all robotic.
Yeah, the bands that you guys chose, it definitely was '90s punk as opposed to like the alternative punk bands that were played on like K-Rock and WDRE stations back in those days. Because when I used to listen to those stations back in the '90s, growing up with my sisters, it never said like K-Rock #1 alternative #1 punk station, because punk was never on the radio, and I never even knew what the fuck punk was until
college radio in the '80s, maybe, but yeah.
Yeah. So, the ones that you picked, I think those were like definitely '90s punk that I've never heard of personally, because I always like heard what was on the radio, and I assumed that was punk until I actually like did some research and actually learned that the stuff that was being played on the radio wasn't '90s punk at all. It was just all alternative rock at that point.
It's basically pop rock, because that's what was popular back then. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, true. I'm similar to you. When your sisters, I have 2 older half sisters, and I remember when people started talking about Green Day, and Green Day is so punk, you got to check out Green Day. I was like, my fucking sisters listen to Green Day, and they're like the lamest princesses of the fucking Japs you could possibly meet.
God.
So clearly that is not punk rock.
That is not punk
at
rock.
all. Yeah.
I mean,
I remember they had the Dookie CD in the fucking Jeep. I was like,
still have it. Still have the CD.
You can
Still
go hang
have
out
it.
with my half sisters then.
Still have it.
I
Still
mean, it's
have
just
it.
one of those things. Like, you know, I think it's a travesty of justice that the Damned had to open for Rancid at
Me too.
MSG. Why? It should have been the other way around. Obviously, I guess Rancid maybe sold my records, maybe, but is that even true? Rancid had like one super popular record, right? Out Come the Wolves.
Out Come the Wolves, yeah.
And the Damned, I don't know. I think the Damned obviously
They got boned.
should have gone on after Rancid.
I mean, they had a good reaction at that show too. So
Who, Rancid did, or the Damned?
the Damned, Damned.
Well, yeah, we watched the Damned,
Yeah, the
and
Damned
then I
were
told you
great.
we went and hung out outside, and we mentioned that.
But of course, Rancid has like the catchier ska songs. They're a ska band.
Honestly, no, I don't even think they're that catchy. I know the ska, everyone loves ska and stuff like that, but
yeah,
I don't even think it's catchy. Like that guy with his mumble mouth, like down, go get up.
Time Bomb Tim.
Yeah, I don't even. That's not even catchy to me. Like,
yeah, I heard
he
he was
got
an
the
asshole.
music,
So.
I got the way to go, or whatever. It's not even like okay, I guess.
I mean, the only members I like out of that band is Lars and Brandon on the drummer. That's it.
Yeah. Wait, they have a different. That wasn't the original drummer, was it? Brandon.
Brandon wasn't the original drummer. Brandon used to be a drummer for the band The Used back in Salt Lake City in like the early
Used,
2000s.
I remember the Used. That was early 2000s.
Yeah.
That guy was dating Kelly Osbourne.
When I worked at the mall, we sold their T-shirts. I remember that. I wouldn't know.
That is throwback.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I'm an
Used to rock.
encyclopedia right here.
Yes.
Yeah, watching the Osbournes and shit, and
Yeah.
Burt McCracken dating Kelly Osbourne.
I remember Ozzy was kind of mystified, and I remember what's his ass? Ozzy's son was annoyed about Burt. Jack didn't like Burt McCracken. Ozzy was kind of like, fuck.
Yeah.
Would he have preferred Phil McCracken?
Everybody loves Phil McCracken.
Oh well.
Yeah, what
it's all alternative rock. They're not punk, so.
You know, that's what got weird in the early 2000s, especially if you want to move on from 90s punk into the early 2000s, when you had stuff like The Used and what was that, My Chemical Romance?
Oh no.
And then
God.
and like Paramore, that was what people were calling punk
God.
then.
Yeah.
That literally.
You're bringing up fucking Paramore, really?
Hey, she is a Paramore.
The Christian band.
Yeah.
But that shit literally just sounded like pop music with maybe a little bit of fake guitars on top of
It
it.
is pop music. Well, that's
It's pop
why all the
alternative rock.
kids like it, because it's pop.
Yeah.
catchy, and you go, oh.
But I mean, like My Chemical Romance, My Chem, to those in the know,
Yeah.
really wasn't any different from like In Sync, except that they had leather jackets.
What was my fake favorite band of that era when we lived in Staten Island?
Oh, Aiden.
Aiden. I don't remember anything about them, but I just remember their stupid faces, and their zits were horrible. So I was like, they're my favorite band of these stupid
We used to
bands
joke
that I
about
don't listen
Aiden.
to.
Whatever happened to
Oh
Aiden?
yeah, fucking.
They kind of fell by the wayside.
I was like, you're on fucking MTV, and they couldn't buy you some Proactive.
Actually, props to them for doing it. I mean, you know, they're like, these are our band pictures, and don't Photoshop out the zits, yo. So I guess cool, but that's
you're my boy, Aiden.
That's kind of punk, I guess, in a way. Like,
I mean,
Vicious never photoshopped out his zits.
Oh wow.
You know?
I never heard of the whole zit thing.
A syringe in a fucking toilet filled with piss. He never said, by the way, Photoshop out the zits later when you get.
I never heard that story. I think if you're talking about Will Francis, the singer of Aiden, I never heard that story.
He was kind of the
you
chubby guy.
Even know the singer's name. See, this is why Ty is.
They later, when they tried to keep going on their second or third album, they actually did clean up. They had nice, clean faces.
Nice, clean shaven faces, slick back hair.
And no more zits. We were severely disappointed. Right. Aiden used to be one of our, in jokes. Me and her about Aiden being our band. And then I couldn't even name you any of their songs. No. But then when they came out with their next album, they were all slicked up and no more zits, and we were like, that's not my Aiden. That's not the Aiden I know.
Yeah, when they went all like new wave for that one album, then they went back to being punk again. I don't know.
They were our favorite fake band. We lived in Staten Island temporarily, and there's literally 2 years. Nothing
Temporarily,
to do.
We lived in Staten Island for 2 temporary years.
I try to forget, but there's literally nothing to do in Staten Island except for go to the mall. So you'd be like, "You want to go to the mall?"
Let's go to the mall. We're going to the mall.
So that's how we knew that these bands existed.
Go to Staten Island Mall. Go to the Hot Topic there, and you find out about all these fucking bands.
That's actually it's funny because she's not lying. That's what we would do. We'd be like,
"Oh wow."
We obviously had a car. You have to if you live in Staten Island. We'd be like, "Oh, want to go to the mall?" We'd be like, "Yeah." And then it finally hit me after like nearly 2 years because we lasted 2 years there almost. And I was like, "Holy shit, we're mall people." That's when I knew we had to get off of Staten Island.
Yeah.
And move to Brooklyn. I was like, fucking mall people now. We're actually stoked. We're like, fuck yeah, we're going to the fucking mall.
It's going to be a big day.
Yeah, we're mall-core kids now.
So we moved to Brooklyn.
Oh wow. God. Thankfully, y'all got out of there.
The hell of the Staten Island Mall. Oh, shit.
But yeah. To answer your question, I think Aiden stopped being the band in like 2015 when they did their final like.
They lasted a while then.
That is a long.
They lasted a while. They were like from like 2003 or 4 to like until.
Wow,
like,
I didn't even know.
We became aware of them in 2006 when we lived in Astoria. That's how.
Oh yeah, that was like 1 year before they released their new wave album that wasn't punk at all. That the one they got the most shit for because they just changed their music style. They haven't been a band for like 5 years now, and Will Francis, the singer, he went through like some personal shit. Like a lot of girls who were like, he's living his life in Seattle. He's not really doing music because he was a victim of the cancel culture because a lot of these girls who he was touring and was like having like extramarital affairs behind his wife's back, who he has a kid with. And now he's living in I think it's like I don't think he's a Mormon, but he has like 2-3 wives now.
In Utah or something.
Weird.
But did he ever date Kelly Osbourne?
Oh hell no.
So he's no Burt McCracken, man.
What I think is really funny about the 90s, this music and the cancel culture thing, I don't know if you caught on like 2 months ago, I was telling him that they were trying to cancel Rancid for like 5 seconds because they were like, did you know that Brody Dahl was 16 when she started going out with Tim Armstrong? And like 5 people were like, oh my God. And then they were like, yeah, but we don't actually care. So
I love when like
I'm
opposed to cancel culture, but I love when it's like something happens to somebody that everybody likes. They're kind of like,
so they're like, well, no, that didn't happen.
Yeah, who cares?
Move on.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to cancel
it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to cancel somebody, you should have done it like years ago before this whole cancel culture thing was so cool now. So
right.
Like, why are you bringing this up now? It's like shit.
Right. Well,
remember that happened to Joan Jett a few years ago about an incident that happened in the 70s.
Right.
And that's an example where I don't think she should have been canceled. But they were like, well, we love June Jet, so let's
shut that one out the door.
Yeah.
And it was in the 70s. Nobody really gave a shit what they did.
Those were different times for sure.
Well, that's what's really funny too is that people, I won't say their names, are like talked to us about bands before, and we're like, oh, well, I can't really like this band anymore because they used to be terrible to women. It was like, dude, it was the 70s. Those were just different times. The same rules didn't apply. They really didn't.
Yeah.
Everybody was like slipping drugs on everybody's drinks, and everybody was.
And it was
like expected and normal.
It's expected, yeah.
It was though. It fucking was. So
hashtag
different.
Studio 54. Come on.
Exactly. It was a partying fucking decade.
It was a partying decade.
Yeah,
I wasn't there, but
and nobody was partying and nobody was partying in Times Square like they do now. So
right.
People party in Times Square now.
I don't know.
People party in Times Square now, but back in the 70s, nobody was even around in that area. So
yeah, they were. That's where all the strip joints were in that porno movie theater.
The strip joints, and nobody was like in the street until like 6 o'clock in the morning, like how it is now. Oh, that's what I was saying.
That sounds like a party to me. Fucking porno movies and strip joints. Fuck yeah. There's actually in the John Joseph book, there's a good story about that where him and his buddy were walking around Times Square, probably late 70s, and they bought acid from some guy on the corner. And he told him, all right, take it. And they're like, what do we do? And the guy told him, run around the block a bunch of times and it'll kick in. And they did it and nothing happened because it wasn't really acid anyway. And they were like, they came back and the guy was still there and like, nothing happened. And the guy was like, do it again, like 10 times. And then when they did that, then the guy was gone.
he told us a whole bunch of stories about how some lady was like chopped up in fucking Washington. What's not Washington Square Park?
That's where the one dude was feeding his victims to the
victims to
Tompkins Square Park, not Washington.
Tompkins Square Park, that's the one. Yeah, he was telling us those stories and all that.
Yeah,
it was fun. It's an enlightening experience.
It's always fun to hear about a guy that was murdering hookers and feeding them to the
exactly.
I'm not a big meme guy, but I really like that one that's going around this week of Jeffrey Dahmer eating from a bowl, and it says, "I eat guys like you for breakfast." That cracks me up.
Oh my god, New York back in those days, man.
What are you gonna do?
Oh yeah, what can you do?
Did he mention that? Maybe I shouldn't say. I don't know, but it's public record. I'm not telling tales out of school. John Joseph, one of said girls that was murdered by the scumbag was actually the girlfriend at different times or maybe simultaneously, I really don't know, of Harley and Dave Insurgent of Reagan Youth.
Oh.
And actually that's part of the reason they say that Dave Insurgent cracked up and went down the downward spiral was his girlfriend being murdered.
That would be logical, no?
Yeah. So
yeah, this is
I'm happy. I'm not laughing about it. I'm not making jokes, but that's the fact too. But
I mean,
he didn't mention that. I guess JJ didn't mention that one.
I don't think he mentioned that one, but I do remember we were at I think it's some part at St. Mark's or whatever. I think it was like the one street over. He was I think it was in front of like this like little theater place, like where there's like it's like a bar, then like stairs that led up to like some artsy place or whatever the fuck that was.
Limelight?
No, that's up in like that was. I went to Limelight.
I was just saying what was upstairs.
That was like 19th Street or something. Well,
I know, but what has an upstairs?
There were lots of little theaters around St. Mark's.
Yeah, it was one in particular because I kept going past it when I was walking around in that area. I forgot what it was. I have to see it again. He was telling us about actually I brought up 2 movies I brought up to him. The Sid and Nancy movie and the CBGB's movie with Alan Rickman.
Well, CBGB's movie, complete
I've never
awful.
Seen the Sid and Nancy movie.
Sid and Nancy movie is watchable but stupid.
We tried to watch it on the bootleg channel, and it's actually
She's never seen it. I actually saw it in the theater in St. Mark's Place when it came out.
Yeah. Luckily, John Joseph cursed out both of those movies. He said both those movies were all bullshit.
CBGB was fucking
complete bullshit. But actually, the Sid and Nancy movie had some good Joe Strummer music and a lot of other good music on the soundtrack.
Yeah, that is a good soundtrack.
The Sid and Nancy movie, not the CBGB. I don't know.
He was basically telling us about how Nancy was actually like supposedly like allegedly actually murdered, not like saying like, oh, Sid stabbed her like everybody else has been saying. Like
pretty much everybody in the know knows that that Sid did not do it.
Well, they had that. What was that movie? Who Killed Nancy or Nancy.
There was
whatever,
like one of those like
documentary
last
kind of thing.
24 hours, like
Yeah.
shows where
That's
Yeah,
what
he
it
was-
was.
it all.
Yeah, he was basically saying that Sid was like super high and knocked out or something like that, from what I remember. And
Yeah.
then some.
Everybody was saying that he not only was so incapacitated that was there that night, that he probably couldn't have done it, and that also it just wasn't in him to actually do it. Although he did smash people in the face with glasses, pint glasses. But
but I'd done that.
I
wouldn't kill anybody for real.
Rocket's red glare. Anyway, that's all I'm saying. I don't know. Anyone heard of Rocket's red glare? No.
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 That's the word on the street. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the word on the street. You can look him up if you don't know who Rocket's red glare is.
Yeah.
I'm definitely doing that.
Yeah. You ever saw Talk Radio with Eric Bogosian in the movie?
Talk radio? No. Not at all.
If you watch that movie, there's a scene where he gets shot and the guy goes, "You're dead, fucker," and shoots him. That's Rocket's red glare. That's his name. It's a guy's name. He was an actor. East Village Presence. My friend Bieberman was good friends with him.
That's right.
He passed away, I don't know, 10 years ago.
Hi, Bieberman. Does Bieberman watch these?
I don't know. Should tell him.
Do you watch these, Bieberman?
Yeah, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Bieberman never wanted to talk about it when I asked him about Nancy, because, like I said, my friend Bieberman was friends with Rocket's regular, and he was like, I don't know. So, who knows?
Yeah, keep it under wraps.
Yeah. He's dead now, so we can talk about him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not Bieberman, Rocket's regular.
Yeah,
Bieberman's
alive and well.
Hi, buddy.
Uh-huh.
So, I don't know. Who the hell knows? What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Don't get fucked up in the Chelsea Hotel with some shady characters and Sid Vicious. That's what I'm not going to do.
Don't get murdered.
I'm not going to get
That's
murdered.
my advice.
Yeah, thankfully he didn't record on that album, though.
Which one? Sid?
Never mind the Bullocks.
Oh, he's barely not even really on that. He's on one song.
Oh, God. Thankfully, I don't remember. What song was that?
I don't remember either, but I just recently reread the Steve Jones auto bio, which is a good book. You should read that one if you like those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
Lonely Boy is the title, where he says the song too. I don't remember. He said Sid attempted to play on one song. Other than that, it's Glenn Matlock or Steve himself that plays the bass on that album.
Well, Anarchy in the UK was my song for me, so.
That's a great album.
It is a great album.
I'm more of
my favorite song.
In terms of OG punk, I'm a Ramones guy more than a Sex Pistols guy.
But they have their place.
But Sex Pistols was good. That album's good, yeah.
Yeah.
I saw the 96 reunion.
Sid Vicious started the horrible punk thing where punks can't play their instruments.
And
is what all anybody wants to say.
Oh, God.
That's why that's why actually growing up I actually wanted to not I didn't like the Sex Pistols when I was a wee lad first listening to stuff, because I did, that was the image that everybody thought of punk, some asshole puking on everybody and throwing glasses at people and who can't play his instrument, and
Yeah, that's not true, punk.
Punks
don't puke on everybody. Punks don't puke on everybody. So.
No. If you know the story too, that's actually where the term hardcore punk was born out of that same feeling where Ian MacKaye talks about it a bunch, obviously, where they didn't want to be associated with that kind of thing. So, but it was still punk, so they named it something a little bit different so as to distinguish themselves from vomiting and not being able to play your instruments.
Not the case at all.
Yeah,
because a lot of those punk bands can actually play their instruments, and
actually contemporary band. The Damn can play the shit out of their instruments.
Fucking extremely talented.
Captain Sensible, fucking Rat Scabies, all fucking,
Yeah, I was happy when they played Neat Neat on that show. So
yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. They didn't play it. I wanted them to play more punk though. They played more of their like mellow psychedelic kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I love the Damned, and I know that they've always been multifaceted, but I really wanted to hear more punk from them.
Yeah.
Agreed. It was a fun set though.
Just don't have a ska band next time.
Yeah.
Please. For the
love of
please.
Cheez-Its, don't have a
ska band like Rancid on there.
Yeah. The New Jersey show, the whole opening lineup
that was
awesome.
Great.
You had Harley, you had Suicidal, and you had Murphy's Law. There was not one.
That's the lineup. Oh my God,
that was fucking winner. Yeah, that was fucking amazing.
I mean, not that I don't mind Rancid. I mean, like a couple songs off of Out Came the Wolves, and seeing Brandon playing on drums for them, and seeing Lars play, and except for Tim. It was a pretty good set, regardless. I mean,
they still have their bass player, right? That guy was good. Freeman,
Matt Freeman or whatever his name is. Yeah,
he's great.
He's still. Yeah, I like him too. He's not bad. But fuck Tim. But the only
Also
the
with
main
that
reason,
fucking beard and the mumble mouth.
yeah, like who the fuck is that guy? That beard looks so fucking disgusting.
It looks
It does.
stupid, man. Yeah. Hey man, I don't know. I guess the equivalent of the Ramones, they're taking off their leather jackets and getting new haircuts. Which I guess kudos to him for trying to do something different. But man, does it look stupid.
Yeah,
That was another hilarious celebrity, I suppose he's a celebrity encounter of mine that I had over the years.
no.
The first time I met Tim Armstrong.
Do you know this story?
I know the Courtney Love story, but I don't know the Tim story.
Oh, okay, that's a good one.
So the first time I met Tim Armstrong, I never listened to Rancid in my life. I would have no idea. No fucking clue. And my band was playing a show that we won't talk about, and he came up to buy merch, and he was just like, oh,
was he actually trying to pay?
He wasn't trying to buy merch. That's what it was.
Say, if he was trying to pay, kudos again.
No. Listen, he was like, let me get this CD and let me get your contact info and whatever. And I was just like, cool, give me $5. And he was like, what? And I was like, what? Give me $5. And he was like, and like reluctantly gave $5. And then guitar player came over and was like, oh my God, you just charged him for a CD. And I was like, who? She was like, that's fucking Tim Armstrong. And I was like, who? I don't fucking care. I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'm glad you charged Tim Armstrong. Please,
charge him.
You should at least fucking offer to pay.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, Lady Luck, Lady Unluck, the one band to charge punk bands to buy their merchandise.
Yeah, so that was funny. Yeah, I had no fucking idea.
She was always a dick at their merch stand, by the way.
Well, that's Jackie for you.
We have a story she doesn't remember, supposedly. But our two old bands were playing the same show.
For the love of God, publish a memoir. Lady Unluck, the band no one talks about.
Shut up!
That
could be the title too. Shut up.
But
yeah, shut up, the Jackie story.
We were playing at the Tribeca Knitting Factory, her old band and my old band, and we had met previously at a show at Connections in Clifton, New Jersey. So I thought we were buds or whatever. So after both our bands had played, she was manning their merch booth, and I walked over to say hello, and I said, hey. And she goes, do I know you? And I said, guess not. And I walked away. This was before.
I could just imagine they made it big, and Jackie was such an asshole to so many people. They would be like an independent band for the rest of their lives, but they still get paid to play shows and tours and whatnot.
Now, the only reason they would have stayed together is if they did make it big and make money. They wouldn't have stayed together for any other reason.
Yeah.
We'll
Shame
never
on
know.
their guitars.
That's my other Tim Armstrong story, but I'm not going to tell it right now.
Well, I know about it, so I'm going to register in my brain right now.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Oh, God. But thankfully, the Misfits came on and they killed that fucking show.
That was great.
Yeah, it was fun.
Seeing Dave Lombardo play the drums, like,
love that.
Yes.
He plays it so good. By the way, that was the first and only time I've ever seen a show in MSG. I saw Slayer in '88 with Danzig at the Felt Forum, which you could try to say counts as a technicality for MSG, but it's not. It's in MSG, but it's not MSG. So that was the first and only show I ever saw at MSG was the Misfits. And yeah, it was great. It was fun.
Yeah, that was childhood dream fulfilled. Actually, teenage dream fulfilled. So
I loved it when Jerry kept smashing basses. And
basses, like how many basses does this motherfucker have?
I think he smashed 9 that show. Glenn goes, Jerry has anger issues. I don't know if you remember that. That was hilarious. Glenn's got jokes. Who knew?
Yeah.
And somehow they managed to keep it on friendly and business terms for that entire thing.
They were making a shitload of fucking money. It wasn't over, too. They had a show in Mexico that was canceled in May.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll be back.
Maybe they'll be back. They started. Hopefully it's not just wishful thinking, but Danzig is playing like Psycho Vegas 21.
I saw that. He was supposed to, I was like, oh God, I'd love to go to that. He was supposed to play like Lucifuge.
Yeah, he was doing Lucifuge in its
I was like, fuck yeah, that'd be a great show.
Yeah, Psycho Las Vegas. I was going to go to that this year, but not happening.
I saw the real Danzig on the Lucifuge tour, and before they even had the first album out. They did not play the album in its entirety, however. But that would have been cool. But they were going to do. They had dates, but they didn't announce any East Coast dates for that.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Once I saw the Madison Square Garden rooftop picture with the Misfits logo on it, I'm like, yep, it's definitely happening.
Yeah. You know,
they didn't do the phone thing though. Say it again.
I started a whole rumor years before that
Uh-huh.
yeah.
where they would always make those teasers for every town they were playing before they announced it. Like you just said, on the roof. Back when they announced after the first Riot Fest or whatever, and they were announcing other shows, I was a little PO'd that they weren't playing in New York.
So he made a Brooklyn
I
one.
made a Brooklyn one that was the map of Brooklyn with the Misfit skull. And I posted it. I didn't say, hey, I made this and it's a parody. I just posted it. And it went around.
Like, did you hear the Misfits are playing at Barclays Center? And I was
people kept going about it. And like, but friends of mine finally were like, a year later, between you and me, the next show is Barclays. And I was like, I don't think so. I'd already heard whichever one it was going to be. And I was like, I don't think so, but where's your sources? And this guy, a couple of people sent me the graphic that I had made. And I was like, is that your source? Because I made that. And then this one dude was like, shit, I think you started a rumor, dude. I was like,
that was funny.
I think I saw that one too.
It was cool. I like
that.
That
was all over the place.
It was
that was
good
funny.
Looking graphic.
That was at Lucky 13 and stuff. People showed me that, like, look, they're coming to Barclays. And I was like,
okay. It'd be sick at Barclays though, but a classic punk band to play a venue like is very unreal. Like
you got Robotic again. Wait, dude, you got Robotic again at classic punk bands.
Yeah.
Start there. Classic punk band.
Classic punk bands played at Madison Square Garden. That's unheard of. And they
amazing. It's fucking awesome.
Dan's like addressed that night. Remember, he was like, he said punk would never play MSG, and we sold the motherfucker out.
They deserved it.
There we go.
Yeah.
And I was happy to be able to pull off those box seats because I'm pretty sure those seats that I bought were like expensive as fuck, and nobody targeted me for like fraudulent activity because it was like a random ass name that I bought the Chase tickets off of on Chase.com or something like that.
Cool.
It was like it's a couple of $100. I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm like,
did you go by yourself or did you have a?
Yeah, I went by myself, and then afterwards, after the show was over, I went over by what you call it, Autos, because they were having like their little like after party for like those who were there at the show, and everybody was playing Misfits all night. Everybody was singing out loud. It was fun.
If we'd have known you were there, we should have hung out.
We were hanging out at the bar across the street from MSG for a minute, and they were playing.
I remember what it's called. One of those weird area bars.
Too expensive bars.
Yeah.
We bought those horrible bottles of whiskey that we were drinking in there from a liquor store up the block.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That's why I never go to those bars in that area.
It's better than like $19 tall boys in MSG.
Yeah, that's why we were like, let's get fucked up before we go in. And then everyone kept insisting on buying us shots in there, and I was like, you really don't have to. They're like $20 each, and they're like, it's fine. And I'm like, well, I'm not buying anyone back.
It was like we were saying, we were hanging out in the hallway or whatever you call it, foyer, whatever, on whatever level we were on, and it was like punk rock high school reunion, like a million people that we knew, and we were hanging out there.
I mean, I'm pretty sure people saw Anthony. I'm like, oh, he's probably an old member of the Misfits. Let him buy him some shots or something.